Piper. Wolf, dog, cat. Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing tonight? My name is Toasty Evan Bread, and I will be your host and commentator tonight for Intrepid Racing League Tier 2, Round 3, Spa, the Belgium Grand Prix. It should be an interesting one here tonight. We'll have an 18-minute qualifying session followed by 22 laps of racing around Spa. We will, I don't know what to talk about. Hello, Hix. Hello. So, there will be 19 corners for drivers to figure out their laps. We should be seeing a lot of lifting and coasting. It'll be a fun one. I was talking to Frenny earlier today. Feels like it was yesterday. Earlier today, he said that him and Seven were really training and really practicing hard for the race today. So be on the lookout for the Ferraris. He said he was confident enough for a P1, P2 in qualifying. So we'll have to see how that plays out in fruition. On top of that, Mark, championship leader. He has been fast every race. We'll have to see how he is going to handle today's race as our qualifying session has started. 16 drivers to start. Couple familiar faces off the grid. Mo said he was on vacation, little hiatus. Four straightaway zones, one on the main straight after, right before the first turn, and then a following one that after Eau Rouge Radion. Between turns 4 and 5. Then after that in Sector 2, just a small little one, right before Puan. And the final one right before the bus stop in Sector 3. Thank you for following, guys. Appreciate all the love and support tonight. Who are you guys rooting for? I'd love to know. It is Bro Joshua who will be on his lap first. The Aston Martin driver who did phenomenal in Bahrain. I think picking up a beautiful, beautiful podium. If you indeed give me a second. Yes, this is tier 3. Yes, he scored a P2 in Bahrain, which boosted him to 3rd in the championship. Currently, the championship is standing as Mark P1, Pedro P2, Bro Joshua P3, JDJT in P4, Frenny P5. But here's Bro Joshua to start us off. First lap of the night. Bro Joshua qualified P2 in Bahrain and P9 in Australia. So he's a little bit all over the place. Bahrain, alright. Bro Joshua, though, straight mode open in the first sector. No flags out just a little bit. Breaking into the chicane here. Following him. Ooh, he is very, very tight on the edge there. Trying to give the car all the power it can without spinning out. Reacting to his stuff. Bro Joshua a little bit wide on Puan, but he seems to get away with it. Doesn't get a disqualified lap, which is just about the only important thing here. 16-9 as he is coming into the third sector, giving everything that he has left here. The Aston Martin driver, he is looking to put himself on the top step once again. He was surprised he could do it in Bahrain. I won't be surprised if he does it in Spa, Bro Joshua. Very, very fast driver, very underrated driver. People, I feel like, don't give enough credit. 14! It is a 146-1. Sorry. 146-1 for a Bro Joshua. 46-5, followed by Phenomenal Batman in the Alpine. Joseph, 46-8 in the Haas. Joseph not had a great start to his season. He has been having some rough Grand Prix. Here's Dylan, the Red Bull driver. He retired due to extreme damage in Australia. Capex 45-9 with the McLaren driver. Wow, what a comeback for Capex. Dylan 45 forward for the absolutely wild for him. Here's Frenny, the Ferrari driver. He goes second, 45-7. That confidence that he was talking today before the race doesn't quite show in his first run, as Dylan 3/10 ahead. Fate might be on September, July. What's that? Here's KYTK with the Cadillac driver. Reserving for either Mo or JC. Across the line, 46-6. Okay. Busy P7 order right now. Dylan, Frenny, Apex top 3. Good Joshua, Pedro, Batman, Diner. These horses not quite figured it out yet. We've been seeing them as back markers this whole season. It's starting to show. I think the ERS management has been their downfall. Championship leader Mark across the line. 46-6 for him. P8 for the Red Bull driver. Not quite matching his team's performance. What happened there? Here is Seyao, the Audi driver. Through bus stop chicane. Ross, timing line. It is a 47-9 for Seyao. Wow! Oh! What the heck is that? Here's Aaron next in his car. Sorry, I really need to turn off my Moza pit house. It is making my wheel vibrate. 7 goes to the top. 45-1 for the Ferrari driver. What a beautiful lap. 7, who has been struggling all season, just like Lewis Hamilton, has now shined, putting himself on the top step here in the early stages of qualifying. 7's best finish so far has been P4. P7 in Australia, P4 in Bahrain. He'll be happy to see himself on the top step. As it stands, Soup goes wide and disqualifies their lap. Mark really needs to go for another one. Commentator's drink of choice tonight: Ghost, Warhead, Sour Green Apple. So good. Oh, I think this might be my favorite energy drink. It tastes exactly like a green apple Jolly Rancher. Yep, the traffic moving away from him, allowing him to have clean air heading into the bus stop chicane. Off the timing line, 46.7 for the Williams in P12. Pedro on the radio about other drivers in the yeah, I also just noted, were Joshua and Pedro exact same lap? Everybody's on an out lap, it seems like. Let's say out, improving just a little bit as he heads into sector 2. Making a faster wide, sports line on that green. There's a wide on Desert Valley. One driver be able to get away with that, and one driver hasn't. Using all of the curves and into the gravel, say out. I think that's going to slow his lap down as tosses get going on their laps. Here's Diner on the Haas. Through Radiano Rouge. Purple sector 1 for Diner. Has he started to find his ground? Or is it a fluke? Here he comes. Straight mode activated right before Pouan. I wonder if that gives drivers less confidence into Pouan. Maybe they think they're going too fast, and that's Diner invalidating. Be the end of his lap. Joseph, his teammate ahead in the third sector. Watching him go down. I don't know why sections before aren't a straight mode, but maybe it's because this is like the end of the lap, so you're low on battery, so it's just giving you a final boost before the bus stop. I figure that's what it is. Big slide for the Haas driver. Joseph saving it before spinning again. Another huge slide for him. Any lap that he was going to conjure there, just out of the water, his tire is going to have flat spots on them. It'll be a little bit of an issue for him if he wants to get another run in on those tires. Here's Mark, championship leader. A little bit in the mid-pack right now. The Red Bull driver hoping to be on the top step. He has yet to do it this season, but he has won every race 0.3 faster than his previous best. As he heads into the second sector, he'll be on the edge, pushing his car to its limits, heading through sector 2. Dylan on the radio complaining about invalidating 0.4. Unfortunate for the other Red Bull driver, who has... I want to fact check this before I make this comment. But yeah, the other Red Bull driver yet to be on the podium. He has qualified pole position in Australia. Was not able to get past the first lap. Did not get a podium in Bahrain either. Dylan, another Red Bull driver, having a rough start to his season. But the other Red Bull driver, Mark, championship leader, straight mode activated. All the lights on his car blinking into the bus stop chicane. Nice and ready for him. Start finish line in sight as he goes P3 1:45.5 for the Red Bull. Not able to go faster than 7. He is on top. 7, the Ferrari driver, doing it all. He gets a slipstream from his teammate, Frenny. 7, he'll be looking to do it again. Can he improve his pole position time? Heading into the bus stop. We'll probably swap positions here. Frenny, never mind, diving into the pits. But it is 7. Can he do it? Does not improve on his time. 2/10 slower. 45.3 for him. Maybe they found all the pace they're going to find tonight. Here's TX. I have no idea if he's on a lap or not. Yellow flags in Sector 1 might affect TX just a little bit as he improves 3/10 on his time. He's going to have a little bit of traffic. There is an Aston Martin. Chaos up in front of him. Chaos currently set P15. Joshua P7. Trying to rebuild themselves a little. Yellow flags in Sector 2. He will not have the boost mode where he might have wanted it right here. Green flags go out. It is a Red Bull, or not a Red Bull, sorry, a Ferrari up in front. Aston causes yellow flags for the Audi of Seya. PX into the third sector. 4/10 up on his time. Looking to improve. More yellow flags out. The Aston Martin driver, Chaos. I think that's the Haas's having issues with each other. Pete and Bro Joshua. I like both of them. You know, I've only talked to Bro Joshua a couple of times, but he reminds me exactly of Wu Shiesty. I feel like they're like just the same person. PX does not go faster on his lap. Everybody's on out laps, getting ready to do their final run. 2 minutes left in qualifying. Seven opting to stay in the pits. He must be happy and confident that he has the best time on the board and that best time will stay. Ken White Deacon will start us off, the Cadillac. Wow. See, these doctors so alike. Joseph will start his lap, his final one here tonight. And now it's Ken White Deacon, the reserve for Cadillac. Here's Frenny though. Frenny confident that he could have a 1-2 with the Ferrari team. We will have to see if he can make that happen. It is Frenny across the line to start his lap. We'll also keep an eye out on Dylan and Mark. Mark way in the back though. He's trying to get the best track evolution possible. Frenny through Eau Rouge Radion. Frenny not going faster at the moment as he heads into Sector 2. He'll have to find the power and really drive it home. Mark about to start his. Dylan getting hit with a little bit of traffic. That car completely cutting through. That's TX retiring. Here's Dylan. Shows that he's on an outlap. Mark starts his lap. Met with yellow flags at the start. That's going to be a rough start to his lap. What could be qualifying for pole. Cutting back to Frenny, though. Will he be improving as he heads into Sector 3? Still about even on time. Frenny, I don't know if he can do it. I think he might have been speaking out the wazoo. KNYT Kid, P6, 45.9. Joseph, P11, 46.3 for the Haas driver. His teammates shortly to follow. PX not happy with how he finished. P12, 46.5. Speaking on the radio to his engineer. It is Frenny, not able to improve. Best position for him, P4. Dylan finishes P2, 145.4. Phenomenal Batman, P5. The Alpine driver, 45.7. Here comes Mark into Sector 3, though. How ahead is he? He is 3/10 up on his time. Not quite good enough for a pole position as it stands, but we'll have to keep watching. Can anybody improve? At the moment, it is a Ferrari sandwich with the Red Bulls as the meat. 7 currently holding a provisional pole. He'll keep it for now. It will just be up to Mark. Can Mark steal pole position and make it his first for the season, or will it be 7 to the line? Mark, 44.9. The Red Bull driver who has won every race, the championship leader, puts himself on pole position for the first time this season here in Spa. It is 7 P2, Dylan P3, Freddy P4, Red Bull Ferrari, Red Bull Ferrari. The start will be interesting. It is Phenomenal Batman in P5. Capex holds P6 for the McLaren team. KNYT Kid, the Cadillac Reserve. P7 from Joshua, P8. Pedro, P9. Soup sitting P10. Diner 11. Joseph, P12. The Hosses back to back. Aero Knight, P13. Hicks, 14th in the Williams. Chaos, P15. And Sayao sits P16 in the back of the grid. Dark T here. Had a race ban, so didn't race. I was Mark P3 on PS5. I really think this could be my coach. I think Mark races on a wheel, like in a Logitech. Yeah, get Mark out of here. Wow. It is Mark, first time this season to sit on that top step. 7, the second row will be dangerous. Same with the third row, the first. That is the first. Whoa, words. First row will be dangerous. Mark and 7 back to back. It is Dylan and Freddy back to back on the second row. The Red Bulls and Ferraris will go racing. We'll have to see how that plays out, if there will be contact or anything. Phenomenal Batman P5, his best qualifying position for the Alpine team. Capex P6, KNYT Kid P7, Joshua P8. We will just have just a little bit until we get the green flags. 22 laps around Spa. Be looking at an average of about 149 seconds per lap. If I have to put a bet for the podium, I think I want to put Mark first. Second goes to Freddy, and third, 7. I believe that Dylan's luck will continue to not be in the right mindset in this race. He has had not great luck this whole season. A DNF on the first lap in Australia. Is yet to get a podium. I do not believe that he will get a podium today. I'm excited for this race. I'm sure the other 13 in the audience are as well. Yeah, I wish that more people interacted, but I think that a lot of the viewers are also drivers, and so I get not much interaction. But I do love the people who interact. Always makes for some happiness in my life. Join the Discord, everybody. Discord.com/invite/U6. Yes, capital U6, lowercase d, capital ZYM, lowercase PYYA. Drivers are all being very patient, waiting for the go-ahead. Here we go. Gonna be racing around Spa. We get the green flag and the 5 red lights, and away we go racing. It is Mark on pole, 7 in P2. Mark gets a great launch. Dylan looking to be in second by the end of the first quarter. Can he keep it? Dylan, he has to go wide. He forfeits positions. Dylan leaves. Dylan, what happened to Dylan? It is the Ferraris who are gonna win out. Mark P1, 7 P2. Sorry, I'm trying to get Dylan back in. What? He's not on wide. What just happened? I'm missing it. 7, Freddy, P1, P2, Mark, P3, Canway, Deacon, P4. Mark on the attack of Freddy, trying to go around the outside, trying to get back into P2. He gets ahead, it is Mark P2, Freddy P3. Pedro on his teammates, will they swap positions or Pedro stay behind? At the moment, looks like he stayed behind. Bro Joshua, P8. For the Aston team. The Ferraris are fighting each other. Oh, let me try to invite Dylan again really quick. Yeah, I don't see him on here. Frenny will lead heading into the bus stop chicane. Through the first lap, it is Frenny, the man on top. The man who said he had been practicing so hard leads this Grand Prix. 7 goes on the attack. The Ferrari drivers attacking each other. Question mark. Mark stays behind. P3 for him. For Joshua moving up the grid, up into P7 now on the hunt for Capex. This top 3 still battling it out. KNYTK trying to join the mix. He wants to be on the podium now. Frenny stays ahead. 7 defending beautifully. I think they're trying to guarantee this one too. They're trying to play defensive. Look at the Ferraris. They weren't battling each other. They were helping each other. 7 playing the defense game. He says, I don't care if my spot goes away as long as we can hold this win. Looking down the order, Diner P9, I think running his best position so far. Here's Aero Knight in the Mercedes. The silver arrows. They're supposed to be turned around. Tier 2 does not look like it much. Frenny pulling a gap to Mark now. He is doing a great job. Here the Alpine. He is going to go attacking on the Cadillac. Looking to put himself in P4. The Cadillac, how will he defend this position? Down the inside, the Alpine. Will they keep it clean? No, he won't. That is an Alpine spun. Oh, that's going to cause a huge mess on the main straight. Everybody parked up. That's going to cost so many people positions. That's going to alter. Coming out is Caneway T-Kid P4, Capex P5, Pedro P6, Phenomenal Batman P7. That was the driver who got spun. Soup P8, Bro Joshua P9. That's the order. PX P10, Fighting Seiyao, Diner, Chaos, Aeronite, and Joseph. All that are right there. Frenny losing his top spot to 7. The Ferrari drivers might switch. Never mind, they are going to keep position. You're so right. We do need more ads, Davis. PX and P10. Looking as the Haas's swap position. Very, very close racing at the moment. Mark yet to get ahead of the Ferraris. He has not seen this first position since the start of the first lap. The Ferrari drivers hope to keep it that way. If it were up to them, I think that they would be saying, let's keep Mark P3. Mark can have his P3 all he wants. Enjoy your podium as long as we get this P1 and P2. K-Bex gets ahead of Phenomenal Batman. They're going to fight. The Ferrari drivers are going to fight too. See the sparks coming off of Frenny's car as the Ferraris battling a little bit into the bus stop chicane. They need to be really careful about how they do this, because if they do that too hard and they just keep trying to fight for this top position, they're going to lose time. And Mark's going to find them, and he's going to get ahead. They're going to go side by side once again, creating a little bit of a wall for Mark so he can't get by. But Mark says, thank you, see you later, Frenny, as Mark moves into P2. Mark now on the hunt to lead this race again. Finding it. He was on pole position, and he couldn't keep it. And it's the Ferraris who are going to box him in. They're going to push him back into this Cadillac. 7 leads. Frenny P2. Mark P3. Ken YT Kid waiting patiently. He says, hey, I'll take the leftovers. Give me the leftover gravy and mashed potatoes and I'll be happy. But do you know what Ken YT Kid is really thinking? He's thinking, if one of these guys crash, I have a free podium. If I just stick with him. Ken YT Kid is playing the system, and he's playing it so well. As we see Mark on the attack of Frenny down the inside. Can he hold his position? Can he move into P2? Yes, he can. The championship leader moves into P2. Ken YT Kid follows. Frenny falls down to P4. That is not what the Ferraris need. They need to stick together. They need to work. They shouldn't have fought. They fought too much and it cost them time. Look, Frenny now up into P3, but look at the time gap between him and Mark. He has so much work to do to try to fight Mark again, to slow him down. But 7 is slowly pulling away. The driver who we all thought was not going to be the faster driver this season is leading. Looking at the back, Seiyao is close to Aero Knight, heading into Eau Rouge. Will they make a move? Stays behind. KYT Kid battling Frenny. This is not what Frenny wants right now. 8/10 the gap between him and Mark. If he has to keep defending KYT Kid and he has to keep battling, he's going to keep losing time. And look at that. He lists. He says, go, KYT Kid. I need a recharge. You go. You close that gap. But it's not going to happen. Watch the gap between KYT Kid and Mark. That's going to hover. No, it's going to drop. KYT Kid burning battery as he's going to keep getting closer to Mark. KYT Kid, I don't know if he's going to play this smart. I think he might play this aggressive. Soup on the back of Pedro, looking to get into P7. Or P6, sorry. Looking at the wrong Williams. Backpack sticking close together. Air Knight and Hex are going to go battling. Air Knight gets ahead. Frenny, he does not get overtake anymore. 1.5. The second gap between him, Frenny, Mark. That is going to cost the Ferraris time. Mark, he is dangerous as he sets the fastest lap. He is chasing down 7 now. Mark is a starving lion in the savannah. And 7 is the yummy, yummy gazelle with all that juicy fat on it. And here goes Mark on the attack into the chicane. Side by side they go racing. 7 stays ahead, but just barely. Mark on the attack again, down the inside. They are going to keep battling. Mark, once again, this hungry lion, trying to feast off this gazelle. Trying to get by him. Straight mode activated now. Will he try to something into Puon? Mark will not. He stays behind. He's going to try to recharge. 2/10 the gap. KYT Kid has closed that second gap, but Mark gets ahead. The Lion has ate the Gazelle. Mark leads this Grand Prix for the first time since the race start. He'll be happy to do it again. This clean air gonna give him an advantage. Mark gonna try to, or 7, sorry, gonna fly by him. So much more pace and speed. But I'm sure Mark doesn't mind because of the overtake detection point. Now Mark has a boost and he's gonna go on the attack right behind 7, ready to capitalize on any mistake that the Ferrari might make. Heading into the first turn. It is going to be close. The Cadillac driver trying to join in. Frenny behind 2. He is there. Yellow flags in the back. And they're going to go racing again. That was for Aero DX or Diner. Sayao and Joseph. Swap positions. Sayao up into P10. More points. Alpine driver, P6. Suit. He was running a fantastic race in Bahrain, but he is not with the leaders this race. Bahrain must have been more suited for his race style. Mark trying to attack 7. Not quite a move to put on there, though. Cadillac driver, KYT Kid, gonna follow Mark through. It is Mark P1, KYT Kid P2, 7 P3. The Ferraris went from leading this race P1, P2, to now only having 1 podium spot. Mark and KYT Kid works together better than the Ferraris could. And they're teammates. 7 gets ahead of all of them, though. Up into P1. Frenny gets ahead of KNYT Kid up into P3. Now trying to chase down Mark. If 7 is able to, he's going to try to push Mark back into Frenny. You can see the rest of the pack from P5 downwards go through the bus stop as we watch the drivers start lap 8 of 22 here in Spa, Tier 2 of Intrepid Racing. The Ferraris, their best chances now. Frenny will be trying to get by Mark, and he does it before the chicane. He doesn't even need to look in his mirrors. He says, bye, Mark, and thank you for P2. Now, it'll be Frenny's choice. Will he try to work with 7, guarantee a P1? And I think that's already what we're seeing. Frenny trying to push Mark back a little bit. Maybe try to push him back into KNYT Kid. But Frenny, I know, will also want this win. How will the Ferrari drivers play together? We saw them battling at the start of this Grand Prix, and then we saw it lost them places. Maybe they'll learn this time, as there is yellow flags for Hicks down in P15. As he gets going again, it is Chaos P15. As he spins into the gravel. He's working on his traction control. You got it, buddy. You got it, Chaos. Bro Joshua P9, the Aston driver, who did a great job of holding a P2 in Bahrain, sitting P9 at 7, the first driver to come into the pits. The Ferrari driver, who was leading into the pits, taking the alternate strategy, doing the undercut onto fresh hards. Away he goes out of the pits. Where will he come out? It is Red Joshua pitting too. Coming out of the pit, 7 exits P10. Right in front of Aero Knight, the cold tires. Will Aero Knight fight this position? Yes, he will. Of course he will. Back to the front, though. Mark and Frenny have broken away from KNYT Kid. I think he has started to struggle a little on these tires. Now that there's not as much battling going on, KNYT Kid has to rely more on his pure pace. Mark on the attack of Frenny, side by side in the second sector. Frenny gives the position right before P1. It is Mark P1, Frenny P2. I really want to see how 7's undercut plays out. I think it will really, really work. Yellow flags out for Chaos out in sector 1. I do think that it will work, but it's just a question of those hard tires at the end. Will they fair pace? Beautiful shot of the leaders entering the pits. Soup stays out on his hards, but Frenny, Mark, KNYT Kid, K-Pex all coming to the pits. Mark, here he goes, putting on fresh hards. Does he get out ahead of Frenny? No, he does not! Frenny jumps Mark in the pits! 7 goes by all of them. 7 will lead by a great margin, and Frenny ahead of Mark. The Ferraris, the strategy, and the pit crew nailed it. They got it exactly right. Exactly what they wanted. Frenny complaining about Mark on the radio. Soup now leads this Grand Prix. Phenomenal Batman P2, Pedro P3, Joseph P4. Phenomenal Batman and Pedro have to pit this lap If not, I think their tires would be very, very close to the puncture range. Unless they're not, because I actually have no idea about tires this game. I'm going to be honest. Mark has caught up to Frenny. Not quite in overtaking range, but he's close. It's close enough where if he wanted to get close, he could. Pedro has overtaken Phenomenal Batman. Pedro up into P2. Will they pit this lap? Yes, they will. Or Phenomenal Batman stays out, but Pedro goes in. Just 3 left to pit. Soup, Phenomenal Batman, and Joseph. Pedro. New hards for him. The McLaren driver. Where will he come out? Loses to his teammate Andrew Joshua, I think. Come out right behind them in P10. Frenny slowly catching up to 7. That gap has decreased by a second since Frenny exited the pits, putting his new fresh tires to brand new use. Pushing as he's trying to break away from Mark. Mark, he caught lacking a little bit as that gap is now 1 point flat. Keeps hovering between 1.1 and 1 flat. The gap between Frenny and 7, 2.2. 7, I think, maybe pushing a little harder than he needs to at the moment. I think he wants to try to get ahead of Joseph and Phenomenal and Batman before he has to deal with Frenny and Mark. So he has to deal with back markers and defending. Things should get a whole lot harder for the Ferrari driver, who is aiming to win this race. Apex moves into P8 as he gets by for Joshua. Air Knight having issues in the back as 7 sets the fastest lap, 48.5. We'll have to watch Mark and see if he can beat that. Over halfway done with the Grand Prix at this point. Congratulations, guys. Joseph is going to try to overtake 7. Heading into this corner, the tire is not there though. 7, P2 on his way to the lead again. This little mid-pack sticking together, Bro Joshua, Capex, Pedro, Phenomenal Batman, these 4 all right next to each other. The dust off of, I think that's Pedro's tires showing up on the track. He gets wide and poo on. Nothing major has changed to the front. Soup now pits. Putting on fresh mediums, allowing 7 to be the actual leader of this race now. Ferrari's trying to nail the strategy. Everyone passes by the pits. Frenny trying to get by the Haas quickly. Have to delay his overtake just a little bit. Mark won't gain too much time. just because of where that track is, where he's stuck behind. Heading into chicane, Frenny, P2. Mark could catch Frenny still, but I think the Ferrari drivers have nailed their strategy. 7, P1 by 2 seconds. Frenny P2 will be trying to increase that gap between him and Mark, letting that traffic that Mark is going to have to deal with do a lot of that heavy lifting. This is not a great section for Mark to be stuck behind a driver on 12-lap tires. Mark will be fuming right now, watching his time between him and Frenny just completely go up. 2 seconds now between him and Frenny, and he still cannot get by the Haas. Mark stuck behind the driver who is the only driver yet to pit in this Grand Prix. A little bit of tire smoke for the Haas. This is going to continue on the tires. Mark finally gets by. Soup 3-second time penalty. The first time penalty in this race. K-Pac's fastest lap, 48.1 for the McLarens. He's going to put in some work. Three seconds separate the Red Bull from the Ferraris. 7 P1, Frenny P2, Mark P3. At what point do you think Sanzaka says, hey, papaya rules, you know? Go ahead, race for the lead, but the second that one of you makes contact, I'm cutting it off, I'm telling you, hey, stick position. Or do you think the drivers will internally work it out between themselves, saying, hey, 7, you go on and take this, you got this. I think either way, the Ferrari drivers happy about how they're doing. Lewis in the paddock saying Marcus the end bagging. You know, I do kind of wonder that. Pole position running P3. I mean, it could happen. Or not. Ferraris. Beautiful weekend for them. Here's Phenomenal Batman. The shoulder cam. Brought to you by the Intrepid Racing League merch store. Shorts, socks, hats, stickers. You should buy from them. It is Phenomenal Batman trying to go around the outside of Pedro. The McLaren driver not wanting to lose his position. But Phenomenal Batman doesn't care. Up to P8, the Alpine, as Joseph finally comes into the pits on lap 15. Still side by side, Pedro and Batman. Pedro's not gonna quite have the speed for the Alpine. Alpine stays ahead. This mid-pack still sticking close together. Super Bro Joshua Capex and Kenway Ticket at the front. The Ferraris have officially gotten close to each other. Will they battle hard? We'll have to see. Sector 3. 7 still leads this Grand Prix. 7 laps of racing remaining. Bro Joshua gets a 3-second time penalty. Second person to do that today. As I think he might have lost a position or two. Frenny following 7 doesn't look to be putting in too much work to try to be overtaking. Still just pushing, creating that gap between Frenny and Mark. The Ferraris just need to hold position for another 6.5 laps. Soup gets ahead of the Cadillac NYT Kid. Capex trying to follow suit down the inside of the Cadillac. Beautiful move. Gets it done, but NYT Kid says no. And he tries to get his revenge. Does not quite have the speed. Capex holds P5 now. The McLaren driver trying to get his best result of the season. Soup in the distance. Maybe trying to push, trying to get himself away from them. Doesn't quite work though, as that is Aero Knight's P14. They'll flag that for him. He gets going again. Grass on his tires. 7 and Frenny holding position. Mark in the background. Almost 4 seconds, the gap between Mark and either Ferrari, as they are going to be ever closer down the straight. They're going to battle a little bit. Sparks coming off the bottom of 7's car as Frenny gets ahead. Frenny now leads on lap 17 of 22. I think what has happened down in here, for Joshua P4, Soup fighting for his life, trying to hold P5. KNYT Kid gets it though, P5 for KNYT Kid. Capex down the inside of Soup. Soup's getting absolutely bullied. Look at his car, it's so dirty. Down to P7, Soup goes. Capex P6, KNYT Kid P5, for Joshua P4. KNYT Kid trying to make a move on for Joshua. Exiting 2-on. Goes around. What a bold move for the Cadillac driver. Up into P4. Here's Capex. He thinks that he wants into this mix. KNYT Kid trying to fight Bro Joshua for P4. Capex trying to choose a driver to stay behind. He doesn't want to though. He doesn't know who's going to win. Doesn't know who he needs to follow through. KNYT Kid P4, Bro Joshua P5, Capex P6. Freddy still ahead of his teammate. He hits pits again, and he will retire. Looks like in the pits, out of a points-paying position, actually. Which, this mid-pack sticking really close together. Capex goes down the inside of Bro Joshua, gets the move done. Capex P5, wanting this P4 so bad. But KNYT Kid, he's probably thinking, hey, I deserve this. I've done all the work. KNYT Kid still in P4. Capex still P5. Freddy still leads, but 7 on the back of him. Bus stop chicane. No overtakes through there. Mark slowing down, considering to sandbag, so that he doesn't get moved into Tier 1. 7 gets ahead of his teammate. Team Principal Davis coming on the radio saying, need another refresher stint on Red Bull again. Cool. Wonder if that means tires not doing as hot as they thought they would. As Capex finally gets into his P4 that he's been trying desperately to get at to the whole race. Fighting. It was 3 wide. Bro Joshua, P5. KNIT Kid, P4. This mid-pack has grown as Phenomenal Batman and Pedro has packed themselves on the back of this big, long straight. Capex trying to go around the outside of Bro Joshua. Makes the move, stake up into P5 again. Bro Joshua sitting in P6. He'll be happy where he is at. That penalty will do him 0 favors whatsoever. Pedro trying to overtake the Alpine, who's trying to overtake Bro Joshua. Soup retiring and leaving. And I think that might be a virtual safety car. Don't quite know what happened there. Said might be a virtual safety car. Don't believe everything I say. It's not. That's why I said don't believe everything I say. Seven has all but, what am I trying to say? Oh my gosh. 7 has just about given this race win over to Frenny. Still 2.5 laps for him to get ahead, but if Frenny puts his determination towards it, I think he'll stay ahead. Going back to this mid-pack, it has been bringing us some exciting battles all night. KNYT Kid trying to secure his P4 right now. He has to defend for just a couple more laps. Cadillac driver has been putting it in the work. He has put in his all. Bro Joshua trying to go very aggressive. Trying to stick it around the outside, which turns into the inside. Doesn't give him any positions or anything. Capex trying to go on the inside of the Cadillac. Holds position. Phenomenal Batman losing pace for Joshua. As Freddy, with 2 laps left in this Grand Prix, has pulled gap of 8 tenths to Freddy, or to 7. Capex looks like he could be trying to go for something. Capex and KNYT Kid is for track position. so they'll be trying to fight it out. I think best case scenario for either of them is that where Joshua overtakes and gets himself into P5. Whichever driver would be in P4 at that point would be quite happy. But who knows, maybe Pro Joshua will submit another appeal to the stewards to remove another 3-second penalty. I don't know. Oh! His car snaps, he goes into the grass, where Joshua loses the position down to P7. Now attacking Phenomenal Batman. Aston Martin engineers. I'd love to try to interview Bro Joshua. Ask him about the car as we start the final lap of this race. In a world where the Red Bulls have been dominating, the Ferrari drivers sure have given them the middle finger tonight. Frenny and 7 did not look like they were going to be on top this weekend. But Frenny, after I interviewed him, he told me exactly this. That he and 7 had been practicing and they thought they were going to get a P1 and a P2 in qualifying. They couldn't do it. Mark stole the top spot. Frenny was P4. And now we watch as Frenny, the man who has been trying everything to be in this championship fight, leads on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Mark, the championship leader, who we all thought was just going to run away with it, does not do it. The Ferrari, side by side, who will be on top? It'll be Frenny, the driver who wins the Belgium Grand Prix. Is Frenny. 7 takes home P2. It is a P1 and a P2 for the Scuderia Ferrari HBF1 team. Beautiful, beautiful race for them. Mark, championship leader, continues his championship lead with a P3. Continuing to push himself in points, leading this championship and the constructors. KNYT Kid, actually, I think Ferrari might be in the constructors lead now. KNYT Kid, beautiful P4. He is holding that all race. He was fighting the top spots at one point. After his on his second stint, he was in the mid pack and he has fought his way. P4 for the Cadillac Reserve. Capex P5. Beautiful, beautiful race for him. Might be his best finish this season. Pedro P6, he'll be happy about that one. Phenomenal Batman, the Alpine P7. Bro Joshua P8 after his time penalty. Joseph P9 in the Haas team. Seyao P10 for the Audi. The Diner P11. Final points paid possession is Arab Knight. And here is Chaos. Help the Aston Martin. Coming around the final corner. Final car on track. That will wrap up the Belgium Grand Prix. The Ferraris will be happy to show everybody that it is not Red Bull country. Frenny wins the Belgium Grand Prix. Fastest lap, Capex. Most overtakes, Joseph. Here is the grid. Driver of the day, I think, goes to Ken YT Kid. He raced absolutely beautifully. And the full race director this time. There was rain in Tier 3. Lucky. Lucky. Well, I have been your host and commentator, Toasty Evan Brett. I thank you all for joining me for this race. I love you all. I hope to see you again.